children, today we are in our second session in the chapter acids, bases and salts. As we have discussed in the first session of classes of acids and bases and salts, I have discussed with you the basic characteristics of acids, bases and salts, that is the physical test to identify whether a given compound is an acid or a base. That is, in those course I have explained you how to test whether a given unknown compound is an acid or a base using some indicator tests. And then we have discussed some important theories are there or proposed by the scientists to determine whether a given substance, an unknown substance given to you, is an acid or a base or a salt. So in that course we have already discussed about the first theory of acids and bases, that is the Arrhenius theory of acids and bases. So now in this session I am going to discuss you with another theory of acids and bases, that is Bronsted-Lowry acid base theory. So this is the second acid base theory proposed by the two scientists Bronsted and Lowry, developing the limitations that have been faced by the Arrhenius theory. So we have already discussed in the first session of Arrhenius theory of acids and bases that it has some important limitations. I think all of you have remembered those. Let me recall once. What are the most important limitations of Arrhenius theory? Yes, first important limitation of Arrhenius theory was it is applicable for only aqueous solutions, but that was overcome by this theory, that is Bronsted-Lowry theory. This theory is not only applicable for aqueous solutions but also all solutions, that is the compounds which are dissolved in not only the water, that is not only the aqueous solutions but also the other compounds which dissolve in non-aqueous solutions. So for those solutions also this theory was applicable. In such cases also we can apply the Bronsted-Lowry theory. So that limitation was recovered. Coming to the second limitation of Arrhenius theory, it could explain about the compounds which acts as acids or bases which contain proton. That means acid should donate proton or produce H plus ion in the aqueous solution, whereas bases should produce OH minus ion in their aqueous solution. So this is the definition given by Arrhenius actually. So there we have discussed that some compounds like CO2 and some other compounds like SO2 are acting as acids even though they do not contain hydrogen to produce or to give out H plus ion in the aqueous solutions. And coming to bases, NH3 is acting as a base even though it does not contain OH minus ion. So these are the exceptions which we discussed in Arrhenius theory. Coming to Bronsted-Lowry theory, it could explain some of the compounds, such type of compounds which are not explained by Arrhenius theory, but still then there are certain limitations from Bronsted-Lowry theory also that we will discuss in the last of this theory. Before that I have to explain you what this theory is defining, how this theory is defining about the acid and base, how it defined an acid and how it defined a base and how it overcome a certain limitations of Arrhenius theory. So according to this Bronsted-Lowry theory, an acid is a proton donor, and according to this theory, a base is a compound or a substance which accepts proton. Which accepts proton. All of you know that proton is H plus ion. So if any compound donates H plus ion, then it is said to be an acid. If any compound or a molecule or a species accepts the H plus ion to form a bond, then it is called a base. Let me explain you with an example here. Let us consider the reaction between HCl and NH3. This reaction leads to the formation of NH4 plus ion and Cl minus ion. If you keenly observe this reaction, so here the HCl has changed to what? Cl minus, and NH3 has been changed to NH4 plus. So if you observe these two reactions, in the first change, that is conversion of HCl into Cl minus ion, what is happening there? What is the basic difference between these two species, HCl and Cl minus? What is the basic difference between these two species? Yes, exactly. What is the difference? Here in HCl we have a proton, that is hydrogen, linked to chlorine in the form of plus ion. So here if you come to Cl minus ion, how this Cl minus ion is formed? It is formed by losing this hydrogen. The hydrogen linked to chlorine has left the chlorine in the form of positive ion, that is in the form of H plus ion, so that it is changed to Cl minus ion. So if you observe these two species, what is the difference, children? These two species differ by a single proton. These two species differ by a single proton. Yes, come to these two species. Now, if you observe these two species, that is ammonia, NH3 and NH4 plus ion. In this case also, if you observe these two species, what is the only difference between these two species? Here, the proton which was left by the HCl compound, the proton which left the chlorine molecule, chlorine atom, has attached to the ammonia by accepting the lone pair. By accepting the lone pair on ammonia, this proton has attached to the ammonia and it has changed into NH4 plus ion. And it has changed into NH4 plus ion. So here if you observe these two species also, the only difference between these two species is, the difference is one proton. So NH3 and NH4 plus, both of them have a difference of one proton. So I want to define a important definition here. If you observe the reaction of an acid and a base, so here I have written acid, here I have written a base, because according to the definition of Bronsted acid, an acid is a substance which donates proton. So in this reaction HCl has donated a proton to NH3, so it acts as acid here. And the ammonia has accepted the proton in this reaction to become NH4 plus ion, so it acts as a base here. So in this reaction, according to the definition of Bronsted acid and Bronsted base, this substance acts as an acid and this substance acts as a base. So now here I am going to define you most important definition, that is conjugate acid base pair. Conjugate acid base pair. So how do you define this conjugate acid base pair? So in the Bronsted acid base theory, if you observe two species, that is the species formed from an acid by loss of proton and the species formed by a base, that is by the addition of proton, those two species differ by one proton each. So such type of species which differ, both of them which differ by a single proton, are said to be conjugate acid base pair. Let me write the definition of conjugate acid base pair. A pair of species which differ by one proton are said to be conjugate acid base pair. Are said to be conjugate acid base pair. Let me explain this in detail. So we have taken HCl here. So as HCl is an acid, Generally, what character does acid have according to Bronsted theory? It will have the tendency to lose proton. So, here from HCl one proton will be removed, that is minus H plus ion, that will be converted into what? Cl minus ion. So, here it will be converted into Cl minus ion. So, if you see, this is an acid and this is the species which is obtained from acid by removing one proton, So, such a species which is obtained from acid, Bronsted acid, by removing one proton is called conjugate base of that acid, is called conjugate base of that acid. Now, if they ask you to define what is conjugate base, you first remember that a conjugate base is present for only acid. Any acid, any Bronsted acid, if it loses a proton, then the corresponding species obtained from that acid is said to be its conjugate base. So, example you can give this. And coming to base, so if you take any base, that is in this example we have taken ammonia. So, ammonia, that is which is acting as a Bronsted base. Generally Bronsted bases has what tendency? They have the tendency to accept proton. So, here ammonia is accepting proton, that is plus H plus ion. On accepting proton, it will be converted into NH4 plus ion. So, now this species which is obtained by accepting a proton by a base, Bronsted base, by the acception of a proton by the acception of proton by the Bronsted base, the species obtained is called a conjugate acid. That species is called conjugate acid. So, you remember the most important point here. Every Bronsted acid has its corresponding conjugate base and every Bronsted base has its corresponding conjugate acid. So, acid will have conjugate base and a base will have conjugate acid. And most other important point you have to remember here is, if the acid you have taken, that is the Bronsted acid you have taken is a strong acid, then its corresponding conjugate base will be weak. If the acid is strong, its corresponding conjugate base will be weaker. If acid is strong, I repeat, if acid is strong, then its corresponding conjugate base will be weaker. In the same manner, if acid is weaker, its corresponding conjugate base will be stronger, and vice versa of course. In the case of base also the same repeats. Let me write that point. If an strong acid is taken, then its corresponding conjugate base is weak. If an acid is weak, then its conjugate base will be stronger. So let me apply this for an example, children. I have given you two acids here, that is HNO2 and CH3COOH. These two are acids and these two are weak acids of course. As we have listed in the earlier session, I have given you the list of strong acids and weak acids. Both of them belongs to weak acid sessions only and weak acid category only. So I have given you two acids here which are both are weak acids, and I asked you among the two acids, both of them will have their corresponding conjugate bases. So among the two acids, which will have a stronger conjugate base? correspondingly, relatively I call. Among these two, which will have a relatively stronger conjugate base? That is my question. So first of all, you write down what is the conjugate base of HNO2 and what is the conjugate base of CH3COOH. So conjugate base of HNO2 and conjugate base of CH3COOH you have to write. So what is a conjugate base? It is a species obtained from an acid by the removal of proton. So here we have to remove a proton, then H will leave the compound as H plus. So as it is leaving with positive charge, what charge will be left with the other ion? Negative charge. So if we take out H, then what will be left? NO2 is left. As the hydrogen is leaving as a positive ion, what charge will be left on NO2? Yes, negative charge. So what we will be left with? NO2 minus ion. So this is the conjugate base of HNO2 acid. And from this, if we want to write a conjugate base for this acid, you have a question mark again here. We have 4 hydrogens here. 3 hydrogens are linked to carbon and 1 hydrogen it is linked to oxygen. Which proton should be removed? Which hydrogen should be removed as a proton here? Yes, remember this point, a very important point, children. Whenever you get 2 types of hydrogens linked to 2 different atoms in a given compound, then you check for the bond of hydrogen linked to another atom which is most electronegative. So here in this case of 3 hydrogens it is linked to carbon. Here this hydrogen is linked to oxygen. Which bond is more polar? Oxygen hydrogen bond or carbon hydrogen bond? No doubt oxygen hydrogen bond is more polar in nature. Polar in the sense the electronegativity differences between the hydrogen and oxygen is greater, so that the bond between oxygen and hydrogen can be easily cleaved, can be easily dissociated, can be easily broken down. So this bond, the OH bond is weaker and it can be easily cleaved when compared to CH bond. So the proton leaves from here. So the conjugate base of this acid is CH3COO minus ion. So now my question, what I asked you. So we have written the 2 conjugate bases of these 2 corresponding acids. Now which among these 2 bases is stronger, I ask. Of course both are stronger because both the acids are weaker. But correspondingly if you see, HNO2 is stronger acid than acetic acid. We know that acetic acid or it is also called as ethanoic acid as a mild acid, weaker acid. That's why we will use it in our edible substances also, like vinegar, something else we will use in our food ingredients also. Acetic acid will be used. As it is a weaker acid only, we are using it as edible substance also. So when compared to HNO2, CH3COOH is weaker. Correspondingly this acid is weaker when compared to this acid. And both the acids have their conjugate base respectively and both are stronger. In comparison with NO2, this will be stronger because I have said you already, the stronger acid will have weaker conjugate base. Among these 2 acids, this is stronger. So its corresponding conjugate base will be weaker relative to this acid. Just I am comparing these 2 and saying, okay na children. So whenever they asked you the question. So here is another example, children. Let me recall all the points what I have covered up to now regarding Bronsted-Lowry acid base theory using this example also. So if you look at this equation here, in this equation a water molecule was reacting with HCl and it is producing H3O plus ion and Cl minus ion. So if you observe this reaction, here the water molecule has gained 1 proton and has changed into H3O plus ion, and HCl has lost 1 proton and has changed into Cl minus ion. So these two corresponds to one conjugate acid base pair, and these two correspond to one conjugate acid base pair, As we have discussed earlier, a conjugate acid base pair is a pair of compounds or species which differ by one proton. So both of these differ by one proton, so that they are called as a conjugate acid base pair, and both of these differ by one proton, so those two are specified as a conjugate acid base pair. So now in these two, which is acting as an acid, which is acting as base? So according to the definition of acid of Bronsted theory, acid of a Bronsted theory is a proton donor. So in this equation, which has donated proton? Yes, HCl has donated the proton, so it is an acid here. So HCl is acting as an acid here, and according to the products formed there, water has gained proton, that is, it accepted the proton. So correspondingly it is acting as a base here. And remember one thing, children, here H2O is acting as a base. There is no condition that H2O should always act as a base in all conditions. Similarly, here HCl is acting as an acid. Maybe it might be acting as an acid in majority of conditions, but it is not a rule that the species which is acting as an acid in one reaction should always act as an acid in all the reactions. That is very, very important. So the acidic nature or the basic nature of a particular compound or species depends upon the other substance which is reacting with it. It is always relative. So keep it in mind. It is the most important point. So always compare relatively in the equation whether it is acting as an acid or a base. According to that equation you should compare. Okay. So let me come to another point. So in the before session I have completed some important points, that is, an acid will always have a conjugate base. An acid always have a conjugate base, and a base will always have conjugate acid. You can also define a Bronsted acid. Bronsted-Lowry acid will have a conjugate base, and Bronsted-Lowry base will have a conjugate acid. And also we have discussed another more important point, that is, a strong acid will have weaker conjugate base, and weak acid will have stronger conjugate base. In the case of bases also, strong base will have weak conjugate acid, and weak base will have strong conjugate acid. So these are the important points you have to remember in Bronsted-Lowry acid base theory. And if you take in the case of water, for suppose water in some reactions, it may accept proton and it may change into H3O plus ion, and in some other reaction we also find that sometimes it loses one proton to form OH minus ion. So that means some species, they can act as both the Bronsted acids as well as Bronsted bases. So such type of species are said to be amphoteric species. Amphoteric species. So the species which acts as both acids and bases are said to be amphoteric in nature. We know that already, which neither acts as acid nor as a base are termed as neutral compounds. In a similar manner, if it acts as both acid and as well as both as a base, then such species are said to be amphoteric species. So here we have an example that water molecule can either gain a proton, that is accept a proton, and it can change into H3O plus ion where it is acting as a base because proton acceptor is a base, and the same water molecule has a tendency to lose proton also in some cases to form into corresponding hydroxide ion. So here it lost the proton, so donating a proton, it is a character of Bronsted acid. So this species particularly it is acting as both an acid and a base. It is behaving both acidically and basically. So such type of species are said to be amphoteric species. Any other species rather than water have this character? Yes, of course. Ammonia also you can take. Ammonia is also amphoteric in nature. It has both the tendency to accept proton as well as to donate proton. By accepting proton, it converts into NH4 plus ion, that is ammonium ion, and by removing of proton, that is by donating proton, it changes to NH2 minus ion. So ammonia also have this amphoteric character, and many other ions also have this amphoteric character. I have given you only 2 examples here, but many other species also exhibit this amphoteric nature. But you remember children, if any species acts as both acidic in nature and basic in nature, that is it can either donate proton or accept proton, then such species is said to be amphoteric. So now here I have some questions for you. 2 questions I have given you here, that write the conjugate bases of following acids and write the conjugate acids of following bases. So these questions may be asked in your competitive exams. Most of the bits from Bronsted-Lowry theory will be including this will be included, or it will be on the conjugate acid base pair only. So in that course, one of the model of the question that would be covered in your competitive exam is this. They may give you some acids and they may ask you to find out which one of the following is the conjugate base of corresponding acid. And similarly, they may give you a base and they may ask you to identify which of the following is the corresponding conjugate acid of that base. So in that course, I have given you 2 questions in that model here. Let us discuss those questions now. So here I have given you 3 acids and I asked you to write down their conjugate bases. What are those 3 acids? HF, H2SO4 and HCO3 minus. So what you have to remember is, the point you have to remember here is, you have to write the conjugate base. The given species is acid. You have to write the conjugate base, corresponding conjugate base of that acid. So what you have to do? We know that an acid and its corresponding conjugate base differ by what? Proton. Yes. Here is a question again, whether you have to add a proton or you have to remove a proton. It will be always a confusion part for all the students. So remember children, here you have taken the acids. I am stressing that again. You have taken the acids. So what is the character of acid of a Bronsted theory? So it is the donation of proton. So no doubt what you have to do is, removing a proton from this species will give you the corresponding conjugate bases. That means what we have to do in order to write a conjugate base for a given acid, we have to just remove a proton, not hydrogen. It is very, very important. Stress this point. Proton should be removed. That is, hydrogen in the form of positive ion should be removed, so that corresponding species will be left over with negative charge. So that is most important. Just simply don't remove the hydrogen and write the rest in the formula. You should remove the hydrogen in the form of positive ion, that is in the form of H plus ion. So accordingly, you should adjust the charge of another species present in the compound. So let me explain here. So HF is an acid, we have to write the conjugate base of HF here. Then what we should do? We should remove a proton. So here by removing a proton, hydrogen is linked to fluorine. If this hydrogen is removed with a positive charge, always hydrogen will be removed with +1 charge only, not more than 1, because its valence is 1. So hydrogen will be removed in the form of H plus ion. So what will be left, children? F minus will be left. Fluorine with a negative charge, as hydrogen left or leaved with a positive charge. So F minus is the conjugate base of HF acid. How did we get it? Yes, we get a conjugate base from an acid just by removing a proton. Remember that. So in order to write a conjugate base for a given acid, just you have to remove a proton from the formula. So now you can try for this, H2SO4. We have to remove one proton. We have two hydrogens here. So we have to remove one proton. That is, one hydrogen will be removed in the form of H plus. Then what will be left? HSO4 minus. Still we have a chance. This species can still act as an acid because it is left with one hydrogen still. It has tendency to donate that proton also. So if it donates that proton also, then what we will get? Yes, probably we will get HSO4 minus 2. So from this, if we remove one proton, then we will get SO4 minus 2. Here, if we remove one proton, we will get HSO4. So an acid can donate proton still or continuously till it has the capability of donating proton which are acidic in nature. That proton should be having the capability to leave as H plus ion. Till then it can donate that H plus ions. So this is the conjugate base of this acid. If this is taken as an acid, then this would be the conjugate base of this acid, just because both of them differ by a single proton. Now let me come to this example. HCO3 minus is the acid given to you. Now you have to write the conjugate base of this HCO3 minus. So what you have to do? You have to remove one proton. So by removing one proton, what do you get? H is removed as positive ion. Already you have a negative ion here, negative charge here, and this H plus is leaving as a positive charge. So due to this H plus, you will get another more negative charge over here. So totally it becomes CO3 minus 2. If there is no charge on the given species, you can write only minus. If any minus or negative charge is existing on that species, this negative which is obtained by leaving of proton should be added to that. So as here hydrogen leaves as H plus, due to this CO3 will get additional negative charge, and that negative and this already existing negative will become as minus 2. Hope all of you have understood this point clearly. So this is very, very important. Otherwise you will make minor mistakes in identifying the conjugate base of a given acid. So let me discuss this question also. So here I have given you some bases and I asked you to write down their corresponding conjugate acids. So the first base given to you is NH2 minus, the second base is NH3, and the third base is HCOO minus. So what I have asked you to do here, I have asked to write down the conjugate acids of these bases. So in order to get conjugate acid from a base, what we have to do? Yes, what we have to do? We have to just add a proton to that, because according to the definition of base, according to this theory, Brownstedt-Lowry theory, a base is a species which accepts the proton. So here, as all these are bases, they have the tendency to accept proton. So by the acceptance of proton, they will turn or they will change into corresponding conjugate acids. So now I am going to add proton to each of these species in order to get their corresponding conjugate acids. So already you have a negative charge here, NH2 is present. If we add one H plus to this, one hydrogen will be added to this. So number of hydrogens increases here. H is being added with a positive charge. Already we have a negative charge here. So negative, positive get neutralized. One negative, one positive get neutralized. And one hydrogen is being added. So the number of hydrogens increases and it becomes NH3. Clear, children? I have added a proton here, that is hydrogen in the form of positive ion to this species NH2 minus species. So as one hydrogen is being added, the number of hydrogens increases, and as negative charge is present on this species, -1 charge is present, and I am adding +1 charge to it. So -1 +1 get cancelled out and the species becomes neutralized with no charge, and the formula becomes NH3. Now if I add one proton to this ammonia, which is a base, then what happens? Again in the same process, if I add one hydrogen, the formula becomes NH4. Then what about the charge? Yes, it is a neutral compound here, neutral species here, but I have added a positive species to that, so that if anything is added to a neutral compound, the same charge will be exhibited. So how much positive I have added here? One positive. That positive will remain on that species as it is. So hydrogen will be added, hydrogen number increases. As it is a neutral compound, this positive charge which have been entered into the species along with the hydrogen will be continued in the further species also. So here if you take this as this base, that is HCOO minus, and add with a proton here. So here the minus charge is present upon the oxygen atom, so you have to link this H plus ion to oxygen. So this will become as HCOOH. So hydrogen will be linked to oxygen, and oxygen has -1 charge and hydrogen has +1 charge. Both are opposite and equal in magnitude, so they get cancelled, and the compound or the species which is obtained by adding a proton will be neutral. Hope all of you have understood how to write the corresponding conjugate acids and how to write corresponding conjugate bases for a given acid and a base in Bronsted-Lowry theory. So this was the most important bit given from this theory, and besides that they may ask you regarding the definitions of acid and base, conjugate acid base pair, and regarding the equations forming conjugate acid base pair. All will be covered in your objectives from this theory. So here are the limitations or main drawbacks of Bronsted-Lowry theory which we have discussed just now. So as we have discussed in the earlier theory of acids and bases, that is Arrhenius theory, the defects of Arrhenius theory was, the first main important defect was it is applicable only for aqueous solutions. But that defect was overcome by this theory, and it could explain the acidic and basic characters of all type of solutions, not only aqueous solutions. So that limitation was recovered. But coming to the next limitation which Arrhenius has faced, the same limitation has been continued with Bronsted-Lowry theory also, because here Bronsted-Lowry theory also explains the acidic and basic nature of compounds with respect to hydrogen, proton, with respect to proton. So what about the compounds? In the case of compounds, how do you explain the acidic and basic characters of the compounds which do not contain this hydrogen? If there is no hydrogen in the formula of that compound to donate, what is the condition then? Can't we just explain whether it is acidic or basic in nature? Let us take an example. So these examples I have already mentioned you in the Arrhenius theory also, that the non-metallic oxides CO2, SO2 and some electron deficient molecules like BF3, AlCl3 and BCl3, all these are acting as acids or acidic compounds even though they do not have hydrogen to donate as proton. So according to the above two theories we have discussed, Arrhenius theory or Bronsted-Lowry theory, we could not explain the acidic characters of these compounds. But in Arrhenius theory, he couldn't explain the basic character of ammonia and of course H2O also. H2O, it can produce OH minus, but NH3 it cannot produce OH minus, so it could not explain the basic character of ammonia. But that limitation was rectified by Bronsted theory because ammonia has one lone pair upon it, so it has the tendency to accept proton. As proton require an electron pair, this lone pair will be donated to that proton, and this ammonia accepts the proton and it will form a bond with it and it will be changed into NH4 plus ion. So this limitation was recovered by Bronsted theory. But in the case of acidic compounds, what we have discussed, the same examples in the Arrhenius theory, that is CO2, SO2, they are acting as acidic gases, and BF3, AlCl3 and BCl3, these are electron deficient molecules which acts as an acids, and they have acidic characters. All these compounds acidic nature is not being explained by Bronsted-Lowry theory also. So there is no explanation for these compounds and their acidic characters according to these two theories. So that we have developed another theory of acids and bases, that is the most important theory of acids and bases, which was given by the scientist Lewis. So the third important theory that we are going to deal in the further sessions is Lewis acid base theory, which had almost recovered all the limitations of Arrhenius theory and Bronsted theory as well, and it could also explain the acidic characters of all these compounds which we have mentioned here in the Arrhenius as well as Bronsted theory, which could not explain these compounds acidic characters that were explained by that theory, that is Lewis acid base theory. So next to do this, in our further sessions, we are going to deal with that, the third theory of acids and bases. So that is Lewis acid base theory.